Hello, everybody. Thanks for clicking on to the story called Judy and the Volcano. I'm very excited for you to hear this story. My name is Miss Hluchnik. I'm a third grade teacher. This story at the top, it's going to give you a little bit of information here. It says, if you love writing or if you don't, this story will definitely persuade you to want to write. The author, Wayne Harris, did an amazing job showing how to use your creativity and your imagination. Enjoy this fun story. You may be inspired to write the sequel at the end. When it comes to writing stories, there is no doubt about who is going to get the top marks. It's Madeline Coursey. Always! Madeline Coursey, I can't stand it. Mrs. Be the Best You Can always says, Madeline's got imagination. Well, so what? I've got it too. Once I wrote a whole story in invisible ink. All Madeline's got is fairies and elves on the brain. Well, I've never seen a fairy yet. I wish I could. But she's so smart, like that story she wrote where she fed honey on spoons by 9 fairies in dresses made of cobwebs. What I want to know was, where was the spider while all of this was going on? Now, if she had something real like a good volcano in that story or a gorilla, then it would be exciting. Everybody's seen a gorilla, and everybody has seen a volcano. It's just possible that a volcano might erupt any minute in the playground, but that's called geography. It was imagination that made me put the rubber spider in Madeline's desk with a message saying, "Give me back my cobwebs." I was given a detention. Mrs. Be the Best You Can said, I had to stay in every lunchtime until I had written a decent story. It's not easy to write a story when all you can hear is everybody else in the world having fun. It's not easy when the page is blank and you're hungry and everyone else has already had lunch. And when you notice Mrs. Be the Best You Can, she looks like an iguana. And that awful clock says you only have 10 minutes left and you can't think of anything to write. I tell you, it's not easy. And then Madeline comes up to you and smiles and says, I forgive you, Judy Marks. Well, really? If it wasn't for Madeline Coursey being so good, I wouldn't be in this mess. On the second lunchtime, when everyone else was playing adventure games, I wrote, my name is Judy Marks, and I'm... I couldn't think of anything to write after that. Then I put, I'm caught in the worst storm the world has ever seen. And I'm the only one who can rescue all the children from the giant iguana. But I didn't say that all the children look like Madeline Coursey and that the iguana looked like, well, you know who. This was getting to be fun. But I couldn't think what to write next. I wanted to put a gorilla into the story or maybe a volcano, but it was too hard to think how. After lunch, Madeline Coursey said to me, I hope your story is good, Judy Marks, so you can come and play tomorrow. And I said, the story's terrific. But somehow I knew she thought that I was just being imaginative. The next day, I wrote that giant tree vines had grown around my legs and my arms, and the volcano was spurting red hot lava around the island, and all the children were yelling out, "Save Judy Marks! Save her! Save her! Save Judy! Save Judy!" I had a good mind to stay just where I was. After lunch, Madeline Corsi came in and slipped me 2 chocolate chip biscuits under the desk. You know, she's really not so bad. She can't help being good. I decided I'd rescue her after all. Then Mrs. Be the Best You Can suddenly said, "What's that you've got in your hand, Judy Marks?" That's when I decided that the iguana had to go. I imagined rain pouring down on that hot lava and turning into giant clouds of hissing steam. I made one gigantic effort to break the vines with all my enormous strength. Then the iguana appeared and, lunchtime was over and everybody came into the class looking very happy with themselves. That was okay because I was beginning to feel very happy with myself, too. Madeline asked me how the story was going, and I told her that Mrs. Be the Best You Can was an iguana and that I was about to trap her. The two of us giggled. But then Mrs. Be the Best You Can trapped both of us and said, "You 2 girls come out to the front." Caught again. And she said, "Tomorrow, I would like you and Madeline to read your stories to the school assembly." And then she smiled. Odd. When Mrs. Be the Best You Can smiles, she doesn't look like an iguana at all. The iguana just disappeared. So that afternoon, I wrote that I dammed up all the rivers on the island and I stopped the lava from causing any harm. The children were safe and the iguana was free to roam on its own land. After all, iguanas aren't so bad. The 2 gold stars for Madeline and me were nearly as exciting as everybody clapping. I can't wait to get started on my new story. It's about a gorilla who rescues 2 famous writers from a giant cobweb. I sure hope you enjoyed Judy and the Volcano. If that piqued your interest, if that made you want to write about that gorilla rescuing 2 famous writers from a giant cobweb, I encourage you. Thank you for listening.